right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
Repaying workers millions in earnings taxes.
We knew this was coming. I mean, this has been looming for some time.
But this could mean for you if you work remotely for a business in the city of St. Louis.
Clear and comfortable. How long this pattern lasts and if the weekend rain chances will dampen your outdoor plans.
But first, a mother's confession.
And it's unsettling for our community and such a tragedy.
2 children under the age of 10 found dead. Tonight, their mother is behind bars, leaving a community in disbelief. We start with breaking news. Just about 30 minutes ago, the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office charged that mother with second-degree murder. I'm Kelly Jackson. Mike Bush has the night off. Ashley Parmalee of Peebly has been charged in the death of her 2-year-old son. Charges in the death of her 9-year-old daughter are still pending out of St. Francis County. Police say Parmalee showed up at the Festus Police Department this morning and told them she killed her children in 2 different locations. 5 on Your Side's Laura Barcheski, you've been following this case all day.
Kelly, Festus Police and Jefferson County deputies tried to do everything they could to save the 2 kids, but it was too late. Investigators are now working to figure out what led up to this tragedy.
The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office says 36-year-old Ashley Parmalee showed up to the Festus Police Department around 10:30 Tuesday morning, looking disheveled in wet clothes, and told the officer she shot her 9-year-old daughter and drowned her 2-year-old son.
Festus Police immediately went to the parking lot, identified and located a 9-year-old female victim with a gunshot wound, and attempted life-saving measures, but were unable to successfully save the 9-year-old.
Sheriff's deputies found the 2-year-old boy in the fountain near the entrance to Timber Creek Resort. That's about 13 miles away from the police station.
Officers jumped in the water, recovered the body, and attempted life-saving measures as well. They were also unsuccessful in saving the life of the child.
The timeline is still fuzzy, but investigators believe the little girl was shot somewhere off Highway E in St. Francis County prior to the drowning. That's 11 miles away from the resort. Crime scene investigators spent a good portion of the afternoon near a pond off Highway E using metal detectors and searching for evidence.
There's the likelihood that everything occurred there, which is why I wanted to share it with you. But we have a long way to go in terms of the investigation.
At one point, police were concerned about other family members as well, thinking there might be a 3rd victim.
We don't believe there's any other victims in the community, and that's important. Jefferson County continues to be a safe place despite this horrible tragedy.
Sheriff Dave Marshak asked the community to pray for the family as well as the first responders who tried to save these 2 kids.
The Sheriff's Office immediately dispatched our mental health and crisis response team along with chaplains to both support those officers and all the other first responders that were negatively impacted by this and will continue for some time. I spoke with one of the officers guarding the crime scene out here earlier, and he said, "Sheriff, this was a tough one."
Parmalee is currently being held in the Jefferson County Jail. Again, charges have not yet been filed in the death of Parmalee's daughter. Those are expected out of St. Francis County. A press conference is scheduled for 10:30 tomorrow morning, where we expect to learn more. Kelly.
Thank you, Laura. Tonight, we are learning more about a deadly shooting over the weekend on Washington Avenue. 25-year-old Kenneth Hughes Jr. was found inside an apartment around 6:30 Sunday night. Police say he'd been shot and was found with a gun on his chest. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The investigation is still ongoing. New tonight, Missouri senators and representatives are responding to new developments in an upcoming vote on the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act, also known as RECA. For a month, Senator Josh Hawley has campaigned for compensation for Missourians living near areas contaminated by nuclear waste like Weldon Spring, the Westlake landfill, and Coldwater Creek. Hawley is criticizing House Speaker Mike Johnson for taking up a version of RECA that excludes Missouri. Congresswoman Cori Bush is also reacting to the decision, saying she wouldn't vote on an unexpanded RECA. And Representative Ann Wagner called the bill without Missouri, quote, dead on arrival. RECA is set to expire next month. Voting for RECA will take place next week. Tonight, a major move that could potentially provide tax refunds to people who worked from their home for their St. Louis company. An appeals court ruled remote workers should be reimbursed for paying a 1% earnings tax. 5 on Your Side's Brent Solomon is live at City Hall to explain how that decision could impact city services. Brent?
Well, if you live in the city of St. Louis, you pay this tax. If you don't live in the city but your company is here, you pay this tax. Some folks who worked remotely told a judge they shouldn't have to pay that money. Today, an appeals court agreed with them, and now the city could have to dish out millions of dollars to pay it back.
The 1% earnings tax makes up a third of the city of St. Louis's budget. Roads, police, streetlights, you name it.
I think that's probably a fair thing. It helps support the infrastructure.
For years, voters approved and reapproved the earnings tax. Only problem, when the pandemic hit, many people started working from home. Some of them questioned why the city still took out 1% of their earnings. Tuesday, an appeals court agreed.
Unfortunately, laws haven't quite caught up with technology.
I'm disappointed, obviously. The important piece is, how do we move forward?
Alderwoman Kara Spencer heads the Budget Committee for the Board of Aldermen. Right now, the board is working to approve next year's budget by July 1st.
We are going department by department to hear what departments need, what's in their proposed budgets, and what's not.
Her concern, there are already proposed reductions.
It cuts out some positions in our refuse department. The budget as proposed includes staffing 56 refuse drivers, which leaves no wiggle room for days off, for sick days, etc.
On top of that, the budget reduces the amount of projected revenue by $26 million. That was a contingency plan in the event Tuesday's decision became reality. It did. Now, the Alderwoman is calling on you to tell city leaders what you want.
If you're concerned and you have thoughts, we want to hear from you. It's incredibly important that our budget hears from the general public.
So here's an opportunity to do that. Tomorrow night, the Budget Committee will hold a public hearing. It will be at the Urban League headquarters from 6 until 8. That's tomorrow night. Live downtown, Brent Solomon, 5 on your side.
Here's something different. Clear skies tonight as we kick off a pleasant weather week in St. Louis. A welcome change, Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell.
Yes, it absolutely is. And, you know, this afternoon, seeing that bright sunshine around St. Louis, then a few clouds rolling in north and northeast of town. We had a couple of spot showers, but then a nice sunset across the area. And it's a comfortable evening around St. Louis. One thing that may get you, though, because of the recent rainfall, the mold count is very high, and grass pollen, it's also high. It's having a hard time even mowing the grass at this point because of the wet weather recently. Here's a beautiful shot from Jamie sharing it with us on our 5 on Your Side Weather Watchers Facebook group. Listen, the scattered showers that we saw to our north and northeast, they're all gone. Skies are clear. Everything that's in Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas stays out that way as we head through the next couple of days. So it is quite comfortable as we head into the next few days, right through Friday. There are shower chances by late Friday, mainly later Friday night into Saturday, but the weekend is nowhere close to being a washout. We'll track that weekend forecast for you in a few minutes, Kelly.
All right, thanks, Scott. We'll see you then. Friends are remembering a mother and her 2 young daughters killed in a South St. Louis County crash Friday morning. In a story you'll only see on 5 on Your Side, her co-workers are back at the dentist office for the first time without Michelle Yeager. Annie Kroll tells us she was a beloved dental assistant. Annie.
Kelly, 45-year-old Michelle Yeager and her 2 daughters, Natalie and Kenzie Brooks, died Friday in a crash on Interstate 270. Natalie had just turned 10 a few days before. Kenzie was only 7.
Michelle Yeager's chair at Pediatric Dentistry of Sunset Hills looks very different on Tuesday to her coworkers.
I know this chair will never be the same. This was her chair. She ran this chair like no other.
Flowers and a candle in the place where she made people smile.
She was just an amazing person.
Yeager was supposed to be at work at the Sunset office, but at 10:30 a.m. hadn't arrived.
And it's not like her to not call and not come in. She's always very communicative. You know, we always know what's going on. If she's not here, she's running late. She's always real good about letting us know.
Pieces of information started to come together for coworkers watching the news as patients said they'd be late because of a crash on 270. Learning it was a woman in her 40s and 2 little girls involved at 7:30 that morning. The Missouri State Highway Patrol said a semi-truck driver pulled over near the I-55 ramp because he thought his load was coming loose. As soon as he pulled over, an SUV driven by Yeager struck the truck from behind. When the car caught fire, the truck driver pulled out one of the girls, according to the report. But he couldn't get Yeager and 7-year-old Kenzie out. They died at the scene. 10-year-old Natalie was rushed to the hospital, yet she died from her injuries shortly after. Dr. Emily Brown, the lead of Yeager's dental team, said working with her was a gift.
We aren't guaranteed tomorrow, that we should cherish this life that we've been given, love our babies. Michelle loved her babies with her whole heart.
The girls were both students at Hancock Place Elementary School. A photo of Yeager will be added to this chair to serve as a reminder of her, while her co-workers will remember her as
Resilient.
Chaos. In a good way.
She was radiant. She was radiant. Such a tragic story, and a funeral service has been set for this Friday with many, if not all of Yeager's co-workers expected to attend to support her surviving son and granddaughter throughout this tragedy.
So heartbreaking. Thank you. The Urban League is expanding, and its new multi-million-dollar building will open soon in Ferguson. The new Urban League Centene Connected Community Center, donated by Centene, will be the new hub for the organization. It is planning to tackle local issues from housing and financial needs to job training and hospitality. The new building comes 10 years after the killing of Michael Brown and the unrest in Ferguson. The Urban League wants to re-energize the community and stay visible in the heart of North County.
The eyes of the nation, and in some cases the world, will look upon St. Louis, Ferguson, and the entire, quite frankly, region and say, what did you do? How did you conduct yourselves? What did you do to try to make a positive change? How did you try to make some substantive, cognitive, and deliberate long-term change?
Ferguson is already home to 3 other Urban League locations. The new space will have its grand opening at the end of July.
They're ringing in all of our ears. Tonight we verify if we're hearing and seeing the worst of our cicada boom this year. Cleanup continues, but experts warn not to be too quick to fix damage after the storm.
Insurance is always the first call, but then if anybody's coming to you, that's a red flag.
What steps you should take before filing a claim.
While there are thunderstorm chances in the weekend forecast, it won't be like last weekend. And you won't need to use the umbrella for too long either. We'll see you in 7 minutes.
You're either a lover or a hater of nature's big show. Billions of cicadas. In the last few days, many areas have seen a significant increase in the amount of cicadas flying around. Some people say they can barely walk outside without one slamming into them. A 5 on Your Side viewer wanted to know, are the cicadas peaking? And Allred verifies.
The explosion of winged red-eye insects started a few weeks ago, and one of our viewers asked, is it true this is the worst the cicadas will get? Let's verify. Our sources, Katie Dana, entomologist with the Illinois Natural History Survey, and Robbie Deerhoff, forest entomologist for the Missouri Department of Conservation. Our experts say from southern Illinois to southern Missouri, our region is in full emergence. That means most of the cicadas have come out of the ground at this point. That also means right now we're seeing the most cicadas we'll see this year above ground, and it will stay that way for weeks. The lifespan of the insect, once it's above ground, is between 3 and 6 weeks. Because this brood is in full emergence, this is likely the loudest their singing will get as well. By the end of June, this too shall pass. But as soon as the 13-year cicada brood is gone, the usual cicadas we get every year will start to emerge, and they'll hang out until October. We can verify, yes, this is the worst the cicadas will get as far as the sheer number. Our experts say our region is in full emergence, and it will stay this way until late June. I'm Ann Allred, 5 on Your Side.
Anything else about these insects you'd like us to verify? Send us your request to verify@ksdk.com. A trouble spot for speedy drivers is getting some speed humps this fall. St. Louis Avenue, right in front of Crown Candy, has been the site of several serious crashes due to drivers running the stop signs. Alderman Rasheen Aldridge says a traffic safety bill that would tackle the area was approved in 2013, but nothing was paid for. Aldridge says the situation took months to sort out, but now the funds are making their way to the street. As cleanup continues after another line of strong storms hit areas of South St. Louis in St. Louis County and the Metro East, many people are asking what steps you should take before filing a claim and if you should be concerned about your insurer canceling your policy. 5 on your side's Holden Kuricki asked the experts.
When severe weather rolls into our area, Sarah Wetzel with the Better Business Bureau says it's usually accompanied by fly-by-night contractors.
They just come into town, they follow the storms, and they come to your door and they may say, hey, I just did your neighbor's house, I just fixed their roof, I have some extra supplies, so I can go ahead and do yours for a really great price.
While it may seem like a good idea to get your home fixed as quickly as possible, there are a few steps you should consider first.
Insurance is always the first call, but then if anybody's coming to you, that's a red flag.
And you have a provision in your policy that allows a certain amount of time to recoup what's called withheld depreciation. It can range anywhere from 6 months to 2 years within your policy.
While your insurer may work with preferred contractors, Wetzel says it's a good idea to take the time to get multiple bids.
The lowest bid isn't going to be your best bet all the time. They could be cutting corners, they could be using cheaper, not as high quality materials. And so you want to make sure that at the end of the day, the job that you're wanting done is done to the quality that you're expecting.
According to Gina Thomas with the Missouri Department of Insurance, you also need to weigh the cost of paying for repairs out of pocket before filing a claim.
We know that a high amount of claims can definitely affect overall premiums in the industry.
That has many people questioning if insurers can cancel policies in areas repeatedly battered by storms.
Well, they can. Claims is one of the large factors that an insurance company can utilize when determining your insurability. And so if you do have frequent claim history or large claim history, insurance companies can take that into account.
Another thing to keep in mind if you need home repairs, the pay schedule. The BBB recommends getting everything in writing and be leery of contractors who ask for large sums of money up front. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell once again, and it was a welcome change, Scott.
Yes.
See the sun for most of the day. I know there are some issues in some areas, though.
There were a couple of spot showers earlier. They've all faded away as we expected once we lost the heat of the sun from this afternoon. Those scattered showers that were off to the northeast of St. Louis faded away. Still a couple of clouds there, but you still have that big upper level system here circling over the Great Lakes. It's providing us with this refreshing respite from humidity and from heat. So temperatures remain very comfortable. Overnight lows tonight will drop back into the 50s for most of us. We look down here into Texas this morning early. Dallas had some really intense winds, close to 80-mile-per-hour winds at the airport. A lot of flight delays there. Houston had bad weather. Looks like the focus will be more West Texas and down towards Corpus Christi overnight, but still some flight delays in the whole system area-wide across the country because of what went on in Dallas early this morning. Lambert's coming in, though, with a nice 68-degree temperature. The winds have died down quite a bit now, out of the north at 5. 81 was our high this afternoon, 61 the low. We should be slightly below that heading into tomorrow morning. Out the door with a light jacket, perhaps. 58 degrees in St. Louis, mid-50s in our cooler spots early tomorrow morning. The winds will not be as strong tomorrow, but the skies will be as bright or brighter than what we saw today, with clouds very limited and temperatures about 1-2 degrees cooler than what we saw today. You won't notice it. It's still delightful. Thursday's awesome, too. Friday, clouds start to increase, and by Friday night, we will be looking at some unsettled weather starting to work in from the west. It looks like Friday night into Saturday, there's a chance for some scattered showers, maybe a rumble of thunder in there, but the ingredients for widespread severe weather don't look to be in play at all as we go into this weekend. So mainly Saturday, our focus, Friday night into Saturday for those shower and thunderstorm chances. And then by Sunday, looks like we'd be dodging most of the raindrops. They should stay to our west or to our east. And then we'll get into Monday and Tuesday when we heat back up, get a little more humid, get close to 90 degrees for the high, and we'll also bring in the chance for scattered showers and thunderstorms. Perhaps a little better chance as we head towards Monday and Tuesday. And because it's hotter and more humid, Kelly, that might be an opportunity for a few of those storms to be a little bit stronger, but it's still not looking like a pattern that we've been in.
Yes.
You know, we start
Hopefully.
June. We start June on Saturday.
A clean slate in June, maybe?
Well, let's hope so, because May has been bumpy and April was bumpy. Well, that's what you get, April and May in St. Louis.
Right. All right, Scott. Fingers crossed on
Yeah.
that one. Frank's here with sports.
A sensational night for the Cardinals against the Reds. City SC has picked up quite a player, and will Jason Tatum find out tonight who he's playing against in the NBA Finals?
This 5 on Your Side Sports Report is sponsored by Telly Tire and Auto Centers, driving your way since 1942.
Perfect nights are different for each of us. For Scott, could it be pristine weather? For Kelly, might it be saving a pup? For me, spaghetti and meatballs with Camus. And for Ali Marmol, well, it was tonight in Cincinnati. It started with the starter, Kyle Gibson. John Mozeliak, this was a good signing. Gibson, 6 innings, 6 Ks, 2 hits, and 1 run allowed. You would like for Mason Wynn to extend his hitting streak to 17. He did here, a double to the gap that scores Brendan Donovan, and it's 1-0 Cardinals in the 3rd inning. You would really like to get Nolan Arenado going. He did here, a 2-run shot in the 4th, his 4th homer. Nobody cares more than Nolan. Cardinals up 3-0. And it wouldn't be a bad idea if Nolan Gorman starts to smoke. That's 415 feet, his 9th. Cardinals beat the Reds 7-1.
This 5 on Your Side St. Louis City SC coverage is sponsored by Together Credit Union.
City SC is in a funk. Midfielder Tomas Ostrak is having season-ending surgery. They've lost 3 games in a row, but help is on the way. The guy behind me, Cedric Toyhurt, signed a 2-year deal with City today. He likely won't don the uniform until late July, but Toyhurt will be coming to town with quite a resume. The German midfielder has spent the last 2.5 seasons with Hanover. In his last 2 full seasons, Toyhurt has amassed 26 goals and 7 assists. He's also a former teammate of Edward Leuven. The coach sounds like he's looking forward to seeing him in a City SC uniform.
We've got different options where we think we can plug him in, but what it does do is it ups competition, and I'm really all for competition, and that's just really good when we get, a high caliber, high level player who we feel can fit in our system. It just keeps everyone honest, I would say.
As we reported last night, Kyle Hebert will be leaving City SC after Saturday's game to join the Canadian national team. Hebert is an effective and popular defender for City SC, and he may be gone for quite a while. He loves representing his country, but he told me today he doesn't want to leave his City teammates.
Yeah, that's a tough part too, is this group, this camaraderie, you love to be here, you want to help the team any way you can. So it sucks, it's the MLS, they don't shut down for international break. I think the only major league that doesn't do that, so nothing that I can control or the team or whatnot, but it's tough.
Jason Tatum will try to become the 2nd St. Louisan to ever be the best player on an NBA World Champion. JoJo White was the first. Tatum's Celtics punched their ticket to the finals last night with a sweep of the Pacers. Game 4 of the Western Conference Final tonight. Timberwolves hosting the Mavericks. Karl Anthony Towns really was feeling it late. And then there's their other star, Anthony Edwards. Many think he has Michael Jordan similarities. Well, he hit the big shots tonight when they needed it. He had 29. Minnesota forces a Game 5 with a 105-100 victory. Game 4, the Eastern Conference Finals in the NHL. Panthers hosting the Rangers. We have a 2-2 game, and Sam Reinhart will get the game winner in overtime. Panthers win 3-2. Series is at 2-2. Isaac Thompson has had to retire from football at Mizzou. His 2 knee surgeries made him unable to play. Coach Drinkwitz has put him on the Mizzou staff. Isaac is an awesome young man, known him since he was 5 years old, an honor student and an all-state player at St. Louis U High as a defensive back. He's majoring in business, and I'm banking he will be a success in life.
Absolutely.
And that'll do it in sports.
All right, thank you, Frank. And when we come back, the music of the king of pop is moonwalking onto the stage in Midtown. How long you have to see MJ the Musical at the fabulous Fox. Tonight was the opening night for MJ the Musical at the Fox. The multi-Tony Award-winning show chronicles the life, of course, of Michael Jackson during the making of his 1992 Dangerous Tour. And if you didn't catch the show tonight, he'll still be moonwalking, locking, and popping. That's what Frank Cusimano does. every time when he comes in Channel 5 until June 9th. Tickets range from $49 to $179. It runs about 2.5 hours. One final
There's some
check.
good music there.
Oh,
and
yes.
some good nights to get out this, next few nights
to
are going to be
enjoy
nice
the
and
weather.
quiet. Yeah, so go take downtown, a little dinner before the Fabulous Fox. We're talking temperatures in the upper 70s to lower 80s for highs the next few days. Friday night, probably after midnight, our chances for showers and storms go up, and a little chance over the weekend, especially on Saturday, but not widespread.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next. Be sure to start your day with Today in St. Louis beginning at 4 a.m. Have a great tomorrow.